Adobe was ending Adobe Animate. Now, Adobe Animate is a 2D animation software. I've actually never heard of this until doing this for this podcast, and because the first thing that came to my mind is After Effects, because After Effects is most commonly used for motion graphics, but this is for actual drawing type of animation. And basically, they announced that they are ending support. All of the community got mad because a ton of animators use it, and then they withdrawed that statement. But I have some questions about, will they continue to update it? Will it, or, who knows? So what do you know about this, Joey?
Okay, so what I know is that Adobe Animate, or Adobe, decided that their product, Adobe Animate, which has been around for like 20 or more so years, is just not AI enough. So they're making a newer product like Adobe Animate, like an online version of it, where you can like pay a subscription for Adobe Animate. It's going to be like a new product with a bunch of new features and stuff like that, which is great. But it's not going to be the old version where you buy one like for $500. You have it like lifetime. So kind of similar with like Final Cut Pro, where you can buy it outright, but now there's a subscription version. But Adobe decided, hey, no subscription, no payout full any version, and we're not going to update the old one anymore. And a lot of people jump to the conclusion that, hey, they're getting rid of it completely. It's going to go away. Most likely that's not happening. Right now, it's probably they're just having the new version and the old version. The old version won't get any more updates whatsoever. And if you want updates, you can go for the new version. But this was a big shock for a lot of people because a lot of people's jobs and lives depended on this one software. And think about all these people who make like animations for YouTube videos or just for content creation or even for class projects and stuff like that. Their whole entire degree was around this like software. I mean, there's alternatives, absolutely, but they're nowhere near as good as the Adobe version. And it seems like they wanted to have more AI tools, have the new product be better, and then everyone else just kind of freaked out saying, oh no, they're getting rid of the old one, which Adobe saw the backlash and decided to make a statement saying, hey, it's not going anywhere. We're just probably not going to update it. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting to me. That news about them, from what I heard, they were just completely ending the software. I did not know about the whole new subscriptions thing. So it definitely sounds a bit confusing. From what I heard, they were just going to be ending like support for it, and like you wouldn't have access like on the subscription end. And they were like, oh wait, people won't like that. So then they undid that. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I don't know why they would do this, especially if a lot of people use it and it's like the best one out there. I feel like that is kind of an Adobe thing to do though, like moving to subscription, doing all that. See, my thing is that, okay, so they came out, said, okay, maybe we're not going to do this. Problem is how long will that last? Like, you can tell their intentions, and okay, for now they're listening, but like, what will this look like several years down the road? I mean, I personally don't use that, but I'm like you said, there are a lot of people that use that. And I can, like, imagining if I was one of those persons that used the software and it was like the best software, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're just continuing this, or I had to switch to a subscription, I would be furious. Like, for instance, Final Cut Pro, if I ever have to switch to a subscription, I will be furious because I do not, for most things, I do not like a subscription. Now, there are certain areas where I think a subscription is good, like, for instance, music. Like, you subscribe to Apple Music or YouTube Music Premium or whatever. That makes sense because they're constantly adding new songs and you're just having this whole library of songs. Things like that make sense to me. What I don't like is softwares like Adobe Animate, like Final Cut Pro, like that, forcing you to do a subscription. And thankfully, of course, we're not talking about Final Cut Pro, but thankfully it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that. At least right now, they'll be keeping that one-time purchase and updating it. unbeknownst to people who thought they were. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I really hope they don't do it because it will be really bad. Although I did actually see an animation YouTuber talk about this, and apparently he's developing his own software for this. So maybe there will be eventually some better or at least good enough alternatives if Adobe ever does hit that kill switch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they were to absolutely just discontinue it, there even a lot of like movies, like TV shows, like animated TV shows. I'm trying to think of the example they gave. One famous one that I haven't watched uses Adobe Animate. Which one was it? Um,
I don't
uh,
know.
it
Let
was
me
a
look.
cartoon.
What?
It was a kids cartoon that still uses Adobe Animate for all of their like movie production stuff. And for them to just like remove it, the whole entire series would just continue because all the assets are in Adobe Animate, all of the software is.
Yeah, so apparently that show, Teen Titans Go, never heard of that, Smiling Friends, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and Bluey. Wouldn't it be so tragic if Bluey couldn't happen anymore?
Oh
You
no,
know,
that would be absolutely insane. There'd be so many upset parents if Bluey were just to go away.
yeah, all of the iPad kids would be furious. You do know that.
Yeah, I would not want to see that happening. Yeah. So good thing that they're most likely not getting rid of it, but of course it's Adobe. They can change their mind at literally any point and they can do whatever they want because it's Adobe. They are the biggest player in the field, basically. And once you're kind of monopolistic, you're gonna do whatever you want. Like, name one good photo editing software besides Adobe Lightroom. There are a couple, maybe, but Adobe Lightroom is like the one that you want because it's the best one. I personally use Adobe Lightroom. And for them to just get rid of it is not unlike them to do.
Yeah, like, just imagining, let's say, they got rid of Photoshop or Lightroom, just thinking about that here. That would be, like, horrible. I mean, like, for instance, my mom's a photographer. She uses Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop to do her work, her job, and if they ever got rid of that, I don't know what she would do because, like you said, there's not really another software out there. I mean, there's Affinity, but honestly, it's not really that good for color grading and photo editing and other things. And there's Pixelmator Pro with the new Creator Studio thing, but that's more of a graphic design software, and even then, it's a bit more limited than other things out there. So, that's another problem. It is monopolistic because there's not really any other good alternatives. There's not really any competition out there, at least when it comes to the photo editing side of Adobe and Adobe Animate and things like that. And that I just don't like the thought of Adobe could just type a few things and then boom, you don't have access to your software. Because I mean, now that everything's going to subscription, you don't really own it. And it's kind of that thought of, what if tomorrow I don't have access to that software?
Yeah. I mean, if Adobe does actually end up getting rid of it, um, I'm sure someone will find a way to get it back working and whatnot. I mean, especially with their Adobe Animate, it's like 20 years old. And if you're on an older version, there's no way for them to shut an older version down because it doesn't like check with the cloud or anything like that. Because like 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. So I don't think that they are going to officially shut it down. If they stop updating it and then becomes a security vulnerability, that's a different story. Like if it becomes a security vulnerability, you have to move away from it because I think it's Windows XP. If you try to set up a new Windows XP machine, if you don't have it disconnected from the internet while you're setting it up, a virus called the Blast Store will immediately be installed in your computer, even before you get to the home screen, because Windows XP had a vulnerability that they cannot fix.
Yeah, so overall, I would just hope this doesn't happen. I hope Adobe stays on their promise now of not discontinuing it and they'll continue to update it because like it's there's not really any other alternatives.